is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back here with some more Resident Evil gameplay for you. And today I'm going to be talking about something that has definitely got a lot of people talking about ever since we just had the recent skew of gameplay / cutscenes from Resident Evil Requiem. Particularly this scene with Leon and the nurse. So, one of the things that left a lot of people kind of jawed or feeling weirded out by was a scene where apparently Leon inadvertently watches a nurse with ample time to arm himself, basically get awkwardly chainsawed from behind, and after Leon dodges the chainsaw, drops one of his patented one-liners. And a lot of people were saying how this felt really out of character, and it sparked a lot of speculation talking about maybe this is a sign of a darker, more jaded Leon than anything we've ever seen before. So basically the scene plays out where Leon basically is having an appointment with Victor, and I guess the secretary tells him to wait in the room, and while he's waiting in the room he hears an alarm, he looks up, and then the woman comes in the room alerting him that something is wrong, which is where you see the one enemy appear behind her. And there's a weird just time, because it's not like it just happens. Like, you remember that scene from Resident Evil 7 where the police officer meets Ethan out in the garage, but they kind of structure it where you can't really see Jack come up behind him, and it happens so fast that there's really nothing that can be done. Not to mention, Ethan was obviously not trained to be in that situation. The same can't be said for this one. Not to mention, as I said before, the timing of it. Like, there's ample time for Leon. I've heard some people try to defend it, say he could have pulled his gun, or he was in the process of pulling his gun, but he wasn't sure he would hit her. I mean, this is Leon, people. I mean, Leon's pretty deadly accurate. I mean, this isn't his first time in a rodeo. I'm pretty certain that he could have said something. I mean, like, hell, this could have been a good callback to the original RE2. He could have said, get down, and shot the guy behind him. That would have been a nice little callback there. But no, he just kind of stays there and stares awkwardly and doesn't even say anything or do anything. I mean, clearly he could see the guy behind him. I mean, clearly he doesn't look normal in his frame of mind with his face all zombified and stuff like that. Not to mention him pulling a chainsaw. It's just a really weird scene. It's got a lot of speculation of people saying this is very out of character. Like, why would Leon he's someone that would do everything, to save people. He's gotten to a point where he's obsessed with saving people. He doesn't want to let people down. He won't let people die. It's one of his MO, especially in this latest Resident Evil 4 remake. This time has to be different because he's remembering all the lives he could have saved. And for him to go from that to just kind of awkwardly staring there. And then not to mention, after she gets chainsawed in the back, him dodging the guy swinging the chainsaw at him, and then he drops his little one-liner and stuff. It just seems really out of character and out of place, which has sparked a lot of debate whether this is a sign of a darker Leon to come. We've had director Nakanishi talk about that Leon is someone who's gotten to that point in almost 30 years of fighting bioterrorism that he's questioning whether anything he's done has really been worth it at all, whether he's made an impact, and how this fighting never seems to stop. We've had glimpses of this Leon in the past where we see things like, the CGI movies like Vendetta of him, being burnt out, as well as in Death Island being addressed by the main villain that he might be burnt out. And obviously, this game takes place in 2026, so that's over a decade since Death Island, so we don't know what happened in between. But one thing I can say for sure, it definitely isn't looking good. And maybe he's kind of at that point where he's kind of sick of all this stuff, and maybe he's kind of become, I guess, as Chris was alluding to when he had a little conversation with Jill in Death Island, numb to the pain or less inclined to be as proactive to save people. But the weird part is at the same time, while he may feel that way with the nurse and doctor, he gives Grace a gun in a scene later on to protect herself, the Requiem, in the next scene where they first meet each other for the first time. So it's kind of a little bit inconsistent, not unless you want to make the argument that, hey, maybe the nurse and doctor wasn't as innocent as it's portrayed in that scene. Who knows? But nonetheless, it's got a lot of people questioning. Are we going to see Leon go through a dark spiral of descent and madness in terms of, going back to where it all began again, and basically reliving the nightmares he tries to repress every day of his life? Because as we all know, he obviously hasn't gotten over Raccoon City. But I do think it is kind of weird, though, in a way, because even if that is true, even if that woman was pure evil. We don't know. Maybe she's just an innocent bystander, has no idea of the care center she's a part of. Maybe she is. Maybe she's not. We don't know. But regardless, I just find it kind of weird. It's just, the scene just kind of was just really weird and out of place, which gets me to the other possibility, because I know a lot of people want to speculate it could be Leon having a dark descent. The director has alluded to it possibly and stuff, in terms of Leon having maybe a culmination of all of his almost 30 years of experience coming back to him to challenge him in a way he's never been challenged before. But it could be another thing, and this may be the worst thing possible. It could simply just be as simple as just a really bad executed sequence by Capcom. I mean, guys, this isn't the first time Capcom has been inconsistent or has made scenes that don't make any sense, or they're out of sequence, out of place, out of touch, out of time. I mean, they've kind of made a living off that to the degree, but yeah, Capcom could have just maybe made this sequence as simple as, hey, this is how we're going to introduce the chainsaw to the player, and at the same time, we're going to introduce, Leon dropping his iconic one-liner after he dodges and showing how cool and badass he is, but to the rest of us, we're just looking as dude, he could have saved that woman very, very easily. The way this scene is structured, it's just honestly, if you want me to give you my prediction, what I think it is, I'm just more inclined to believe it's just a really poorly done sequence by Capcom, honestly. Could Leon possibly have a dark descent? Absolutely. I'm not saying that's ridiculous, but even if he does, I just think it's way too out of character just for him to not only watch that sequence and act like he couldn't do anything with the speed he can move and his reaction time and his skills, but on top of the fact, it's the fact that he cracks a one-liner after the fact. To me, that just screams, hey, this is Capcom giving a little bit too much fan service, but it came at a cost of us, questioning Leon wouldn't do that. Now, even the most hard-pressed Leon fan or non-Leon fan would say he wouldn't do that. It just feels really weird and stuff. That's why I'm more inclined. To me, if you want to say, oh, it's his dark descent, here's how I would have done the scene. Because I'm always if I don't like a scene, I'll tell you how I would have done it. Maybe the woman still dies, but maybe he gets frustrated and pissed off at the time where he's I let another one die. I let another one down, and that weighs on his conscience, and maybe that's what ultimately continues this dark descent. It's I just let more and more people die. No matter how hard I work, it seems like I'm always trying to be so paranoid to save everybody. But even with my experience, I still, unfortunately, let some people down. I could understand that. That could be a more emotionally well-done moment. But here, it seems how you watch a movie and you have that really intense moment, but then they just have that joke or humor thrown into that intense moment, and it just kind of seems really out of place, but they did it because they thought it'd be funny or a cool moment or something like that, and you're no, you ruined the tension of the moment. That's kind of what it seems to me, and considering it's from Capcom, I wouldn't be too surprised by it. I'm not saying that they can't have a dark descent with Leon. If this is one of the reasons why, I think it's just poorly executed. That really kind of does a little bit of a disservice to the character. Because if he honestly sat back there and let this person die the way he did and cracked the one-liner and stuff because he's kind of just cold and jaded, then I don't know. That just seems really, really, really out of character. I mean, what are you going to tell me next? That Wesker is going to come back to life and he's going to be the ultimate humanitarian and save everybody and jump in and be best friends with everybody? That's how out of character this whole Leon sequence seems to me. But who knows? Consistency and making sense are not Capcom's strong point, so it could be that or it could be something more. But I've talked enough. At the end of the day, it's my opinion. I want to hear your guys' opinion. How do you think of this whole sequence with Leon watching the nurse die and him cracking a one-liner of it? Do you think it's them trying to say that, hey, he's going down a dark descent? Or do you think even if that is what it's happening, it seems really out of character even for Leon? Or do you simply think they didn't think that deep to it and it just a sequence they thought, hey, we're just going to introduce the chainsaw, have Leon crack his famous one-liners, and that's it, and didn't really think that deep into it in the first place? Let me know down in the comment section down below, but thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully I can see you guys back on the next one. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all later. Peace.